Hello and welcome everybody to the next episode of the podcast. I'm joined with Matty Davies, head coach of the Hull Seahawks, Hull Wreck-It Seahawks, sponsored by Wooden Creations for a bit of a catch up. We've not had a good catch up for a while, have we, Matty?
No, it's nice to get on here every now and then. We've obviously been a bit slack with these, I suppose, this year a little bit, but been a lot going on. But yeah, it's nice to just sort of get people up to date on where we are, and obviously we've had a busy run of games, so yeah, nice to get on again and chat.
So in terms of obviously everything on the ice, how have you found January? I'll just pull up the sort of the form here. Just looking, obviously started off the new year with an away win in Leeds, that massive 2-1 win. How do you feel that January's gone as a whole?
Yeah, obviously look, it's been a lot better. I think after the Christmas sort of break, although we didn't have a massive break, it was just a week really where the lads want in. I just said to them, look, go away. We had the game before Christmas was, I can't remember who we played, but it was
Leeds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Leeds come here, and
that's right, yeah.
We lost on the Saturday
7-3,
against Solway, and then obviously Leeds come here and
that's right. Yeah, the 7-3 game, I think, was a real real low moment for me personally, and I just think everyone in the team was low at that point. We had a really bad run, and yeah, look, it's tough, and at that point it was just like, look, lads, just have a week away from it. Put your phones away and just sort of forget about hockey for a little bit. And then when we get back, it's time to sort of turn it on, and then obviously I know them games just before the new year, the Sheffield games were, I think, massive for just sort of confidence and just sort of where we was as a team. I think we found ways to lose in November and December, a lot of it, and it was really uncharacteristic, I think, from sort of, from my point of view anyway, from sort of the team that I put together and sort of the lads that I know I've got in this room. It was strange. It was a very uncharacteristic sort of few months. And obviously, look, people from the outside can, look at it and I guess can say, look, you can always lose games and stuff like that. But if you're not inside the room and you don't understand, sort of the lads that are in there and the sort of characters and personalities that we've got in the room, it's tough to know so much about it. But them boys are the fighters, and they're all they've all got something about them where they're not gonna, I mean, you just have to come to training sometimes and you'll see sort of how intense it can be at times, and none of them lads want to lose. Look, you can always lose, and I've said that all along, that nothing's a given, and you can always, this league this year is unforgiving, and you can lose games. But through that stretch, it was very uncharacteristic of a team that I wanted, and a team that I think Hull fans especially want. They want to see a team that's willing to fight, and I keep saying fighting, I don't mean actually fighting.
That's going to be in the comments and everything. And
Bobby would be wishing I said fighting. No, it's not about fighting. It's about just digging in and finding, any way to win, and any way what they can do to bring the best. You're not going to play your best all the time, and I think that's something that we've talked about as a group a lot this year. That there's times when you're not going to be at it and not going to be playing your best. But there's a minimum requirement that I want for this team, and it's, you can say hard work, you can say that all the time, and every team wants that. But there's also got to be this, this like thing that you can't really put your finger on, and it's character, and it's something in that team that's just willing to, to do the extra and to keep going all the way to the end. And look, I think, them Sheffield games, like I said, were a big starting point for us, where we had Deck that come back on the Sunday, which I think looking at sort of January as a whole, I think you can sort of marry them two up as, you know, a massive part of why we've been winning. But I think them games, you know, we won on the Saturday in Sheffield without Deck, and I think that was a real starting point for the lads that, look, we've had this run, it's time we need to start playing now. You know, in them two games we came back in, you know, and Sheffield are a good team this year, and it's not easy to come back against anyone, but, you know, it was just the manner of how we did it, and, you know, sort of, you know, the fact that, you know, I can say all I want, but, like, it's the proof's in the pudding, and the lads have got to show it. Then it's all right me saying, you know, we are this and we are that, but look, you've then got to back it up, right? And, you know, look, I've, you know, said a lot at the start of the year that, you know, we're a team that we want to win, and you know, right now we're not in a spot that, you know, it's going to be hard. You know, no one thinks we're going to win. You know, even I don't, to be honest. It's very hard, but what I do know is I've got a group that, you know, I say to them, look, and they all know, look, you know, if we want to win the league, you got to win out. You got to win every game, and even that might not do it. So, look, it is what it is at this point. It don't matter anymore. It's about, you know, like I've said all along, we just needed to find us and our identity and what we are as a team, and what I put together in the summer was this. What we're seeing now is basically a team that, you know, we are an offensive team. Everyone knows that, but, you know, the fact that, you know, every conversation we have as a team and as a group and video and stuff, it's we don't talk about that. It's not about offensive. It's not about, you know, let's just play offense against everybody. It's quite the opposite, really. It's the other side of the game that we needed to get a lot better at. And just looking at that result in Leeds 2-1, I think that was the real catalyst to sort of what I was asking for. You know, to go there and to limit them to one goal in their rink, and to win 2-1 in a game like that. That was very intense and very. There was a lot sort of going on, and both teams, you know, we know what them games are like with Leeds. Both teams, I think, are really, you know, they both want to beat each other.
Proper Yorkshire derbies, aren't they?
I think so, yeah. I think they've proven now over 2 years that I think, like, you know, them two teams are, when we play against each other, they're very intense games, and that's a very good team. So we have to be. You know, and there probably is a little bit of, you know, we're looking up at Leeds at the end of the day. So for us, it's about, you know, matching that, and that's their battle, I guess, to being the best team. It's everyone's nipping at your heels, and I think no more than us when we play against Leeds. It's, you know, they'll say it's our cup final, and in a sense, you know, it is in a sense, but it's also, I think there's a bigger picture there of, you know, they've been the setters of the league for the past 3 years now, so, you know, we've got to match that. Everybody has, you know, Swindon, MK, everyone's got to match what Leeds have done. So, yeah, that was a starting point for us, and then the rest of the month, obviously we've had a really tough month. Just looking at it there, and you know, every weekend's been difficult with some really, really tough games. So, yeah, it's required a lot from the boys, and like every team is, but we're going through, you know, we've got some people out at the minute that really does hurt our team, but the boys have just dug in, found a way, and we're seeing, you know, some real big performances. I think that players, you know, that we know that are really, really good players and top players in this league, but, you know, I think now this month they've shown it and proven it, and, you know, now it's just about keeping that going, which is always hard. But like I mentioned before, like about winning the league or not, it's not even really about that now. It's about going into every game wanting to win, but bringing our identity to the game and being difficult to beat. That was the one message I said to the boys at the start of the year was, you know, it was nothing about winning the league or winning this on that or any, you know, goals or targets. It was just purely, let's be hard to beat every single night. And we massively got away from that, and that was really disappointing. And like I said, it was a low moment for me personally. I was really struggling with just, you know, how we've got to this point of being so far away from the team that I thought we had. So, yeah, it's really nice now to see that we've found our rhythm and our intensity and just our will to want to be hard to beat and to be a really tough team to play against, no matter if it's in here or it's in any rink. So yeah, that's been the pleasing thing. And like I always say before, like, the results will look after themselves. It's about the lads bringing, their effort. Performance can always be up and down. You, like I mentioned before, you're never going to play your best every night. It's impossible. But what there is a minimum requirement of what the team should bring. And like I say, like, it's about that fight, that will, that want to stay in the fight and bring it, in battles and in every single battle that we go into. So yeah, look, it's there's a long way left still. It's still 2 months, but look where we are now. I'm happy with it, and I think we've got some huge games coming up that it'll tell if what I'm saying now is true or not. At the end of the day, that we'll soon see.
Perfect. And then you must look at these results here just in January with mixed emotions, really. Obviously, thinking about that stretch of the 5-6 games where it was a bit of a losing streak, wasn't it? And then you look at these results in here, taking 3 points out of 4 off Swindon, taking Milton Keynes to overtime in their rink, injured bodies, going to Leeds and winning. Does part of you look back and think, what if? Or are you just focusing on sort of full steam ahead, form for the playoffs, and what's done is done?
I mean, in my little quiet moments at home, late at night on my laptop, yeah, of course I am. Of course I'm thinking about that. I'd be lying if I didn't. Just be honest, yeah, of course I am. Like, that run was, yeah, it was crazy. And again, it's like, this arrogance of thinking that, that can't happen. It did happen. It did happen, and we lost, and it literally has put us out or in a really difficult spot now. So, yeah, it's annoying. And when I look at some of these results, and I think to myself, like, look, what would be, but, to the lads and to everybody else, going forward, it's about the next game. It's not about looking back. It's about looking back for the boys to be like, look, this is what happens when you don't play the way that, I'm asking us to. And this is what happens when you do. So there is a sense of that, but really it's every game's a different battle and a different test. So you go into each one and just go forward with it, and yeah, we've just got to keep going.
Perfect. Moving on, testimonial announcement. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago we announced the testimonial of the famous number 26 here in Hull. I know you hate all this stuff, and it's been a lot of like planning sort of away from yourself and just doing as little as possible, because it's always difficult with it being your club and all this kind of thing. But I find it's really important to make sure that we celebrate your career, obviously 10 years in Hull. What's your overall sort of thoughts, obviously, on that? Have you had any conversations with people coming back? Obviously, we've got the date sorted. There's still plenty to do, which we'll be doing during the off season, of course. Yeah. But how much are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, look, I think it's always a little bit awkward, right? And being totally honest with you, it wouldn't happen if, honestly, probably for you and Joe, but you two obviously, have, you and probably more. The fact that you.
I remember speaking to Joe about it, and it was one of them things where we spoke about it separately. We didn't include you because we knew what you'd say. You'd say no. So it was one of them things.
It's just one of them, innit? Like, I don't want to do that for myself. Like, it's just something that you just don't really want to do. I think the way I'm looking at it, that weekend there's going to be a lot going on. So I don't look at it so much as just my thing. It's more like it's for the team. It's to look back on, sort of, what I've done, but also just what the club has done. Not just our time here, but Pirates, and before that Stingrays and everything like that. So, and then also there'll be a mix of the new team for next season. So I look at it more like just a celebration of Hull and ice hockey in Hull, and sort of where we've come from to where it is now, really. And to me, like, it means a lot for me personally to where with where we've got the club to now is, it's not an emotional thing, but it's like it's took a lot of work. And to be honest with you, like, I obviously get a lot of these sorts of things, but it's not just this isn't just me that has made this happen. This is like yourself, Sam, Joe, I could keep going, Connor,
There's so many names.
Yeah, Nicky Stamp, like Lauren, and it's endless. Like the people that do at match night, it's like, and this is all being a accumulation of everybody's pitching to where the Seahawks are right now, and I think that it's important to do things like this to sort of look back as well and pay respect to what came before, because if that didn't happen, we wouldn't be here now. And I'm real big on that. Like obviously everyone's got an opinion on sort of how it was done and whatever. It's irrelevant really now. The Pirates had their time, and let's be honest, there was probably the most successful period. Obviously, I'm not talking about Humberside or all them days, but I mean in recent memory, as long as I've been around, the Pirates was the most successful. A lot of my career was spent with the Stingrays, so for a lot of new fans that we see now probably have never saw that them days and never saw me play. So it's maybe tough for some people to understand why is all this going on. He's just this idiot who stands on the bench. But again, and I understand that side of it as well. So it's got to be a celebration of like next year's team and where it is now as well. So there's a lot that's going to happen that weekend. It'll be really good, and I think it'll be really good for the fans that have been coming for a long time. And I know a lot of them very personally, and what they felt about certain players and people that have been in Hull. And all the ones that everyone's thinking about. Of course, I'm trying to get them back.
Don't say them names actually, because we want to obviously announce them. I did think about that when I asked the question.
No, I won't say anyone's names, but I think everyone knows that how much of a massive part a lot of these players and people have played in my career, and I mean that generally. That I wouldn't be here, or this club wouldn't be here if none of that happened. So the influence that I had on to me in them days and times through the Stingrays, and being named the captain, Bobby McEwen, people like that a lot of us don't see anymore and things like that, but these are all people that have been a massive part and influence on me personally. So for me, to do this, I think it's important, because again, we won't be what we are now as the Seahawks. Who knows if we'd be back or what. That's, it doesn't really matter. But where we are now as a club, none of that probably would have happened without a lot of them people's influence. So I think people, forget about the fact that it's me. It's more just what's happened in the, in the 20 years that I've been around this. It's it'll be great. I think it'll be a good weekend. It'll be nice to see everybody. And I think I think one of the biggest things is, look, where we are going into next season. Obviously we've still got a lot of games to play left this year, and I think we've got a lot to do. But I think, look, wouldn't it be great with some sort of celebration, whether we win at anything or not, but just the fact that we can celebrate where Hull is, as a club, and ice hockey in general. I think we saw the other day, it's the most watched indoor sport in the country. I think just people need to realise how big this is, as a sport, and it definitely gets lost in Hull, and I understand that. Look, you've got 2 Super League teams and a Championship football team. Of course, it's going to get lost in that, but I just think it'd be just nice to to let everybody know that this is a really good league now and a really good product. And the amount of people that are coming through the doors to watch us on a weekly basis and all around the league is, I think it's really incredible, really, what this league has been able to do after all the stuff that happened with the EPL and then the fallout of that, and then get to this point now where, I don't think we're a million miles away from the EPL level now. And I think it's really good going forward, looking at it, that, we've got, lads like Bobby and people that have been around for so long, but then you look behind that and you've got, your Brutes and, your Alex Kents and your young kids that are coming up that, for them, I think they should be really proud that there's something like we've got now here with a real sort of legacy, and both me and Joe are adamant on this, and I know you fall in this category, but we just want this now to stay for as long as, this ice arena is here, but as long as ice hockey exists in Hull, it will be the Seahawks, and that's my biggest goal for all of this, is just, it's going to stay the Seahawks now, and that's it. Long-winded answer, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but it'll be nice to get everyone back.
Yeah, it's nice to have that big sort of sustainable model sort of within ice hockey, and obviously to then grow from there. And then the day before your testimonial, we haven't actually announced this yet, but another little thing to potentially look forward to, we are going to be doing a charity golf day as well, so as part of an extended pre-season as such as well. So we're going to have that on the Friday with all sort of different sponsors and stuff like that, and these players that are hopefully going to come back to your testimonial will hopefully then join in on that. And make it a real sort of a bonding, good day out, and a bit of like I say, an extended sort of pre-season. So that'll be quite nice to do. In terms of like the next few weeks, obviously we're looking to do a couple of watch-alongs as well, which was something we've never really done as a club before. The first one being Solway, 15th of Feb. I believe that's going to be sort of free entry for the fans, which is quite exciting. All being well, that goes well. A couple of weeks' time after that, against MK on the 1st of March, we're going to do another one of those. So what's your sort of thoughts on that? And obviously it's something as a club we need to do, really, isn't it? So,
I think it's important that we, we obviously, it's obviously growing still here, but, you look at sort of what other clubs are doing, we see MK with, the amount of fans they've got, and, these events, it's always been something we've wanted to do, but it's obviously just putting things together. But yeah, it's really important that we do this, and sort of get the fans together and give back to the fans that, not only pay, their supporters club money, and they support us with merchandise, and, but just sort of just the numbers that have come through the doors this year. It's amazing. So yeah, doing things like this, and it's also nice the fact that the lads are playing away, and everyone's there watching together. I know they're not at the rink, but it's like, they can all get on Twitter and whatever, and just sort of support the boys like that. It's great, and it's things that we want to do a lot more of, and yeah, it's important that we keep the fans sort of with us, like all the way along.
It's just bringing them together, isn't it? And obviously then, if we're doing it either for free or a very small charge for MK, potentially a cheaper option as well to actually come out and to socialise and make it a bit more of an evening, as well as obviously having the home game on that weekend. Moving on then, what's your thoughts then as a coach now? What's your message? Is it just the day-to-day next game? I know you mentioned that earlier, but are you thinking of just getting in the best form possible now into playoffs? Where's your sort of mindset at the minute as the coach?
Yeah, I think obviously, like, first and foremost, it's the next game, right? And obviously, this weekend, looking ahead, we've obviously got a really tough weekend. Sheffield away, and then obviously a massive game at home with MK. So yeah, initially it's looking at sort of the present and just sort of going game by game. But yeah, I think just the sort of long view is just keep going, keep winning. What'll be will be. But what I do know, is going into playoffs with some real momentum, and it being the team that I've talked about, just being difficult to beat, and just sort of having that confidence, togetherness that we're going to be a tough team to beat for anyone in the playoffs. So yeah, that's the long view. But yeah, right now it's just let's go win in Sheffield and look after that first.
Perfect. In terms of injury updates, I know you've briefly spoken about those in like your post-game interviews and stuff like that, but if people have missed out on those and they're watching and listening to this, because obviously we're going to put this on Spotify as well and make sure that gets uploaded, so they might be on a nice long car journey or wherever. How are the three lads in particular looking in terms of Dave, James Spur and Owen Bruton? How are they looking sort of after we speak on the 30th of Jan?
Yeah, I think it's obviously tough. I think, Davies is probably, an unknown one at the minute. And just sort of, we just got to see how he is. Right, the nature of his injury is just sort of, you don't know. Day to day, it can change, right? So, yeah, it's with him, it's we'll just see, and we won't bring him back before he needs to come back. We want him right for playoffs at the end of the day. So, yeah, there's no rush for that. Obviously, we miss him a lot, but yeah, we just need to make sure he's right, and he's old enough now where he's been around the game. He knows his body, he knows how he is, and we sort of like leaving it to Dave to sort of make the right decision for himself, with Willie and the medical staff helping along the way. The other two, it's sort of look, them two are similar. Obviously Spurs is obviously the upper body injury that he's got. He's had problems before with that, so his one's maybe a little bit trickier than Brute's. I think Brute's will be probably first back. I think he's maybe a couple of weeks away, hopefully. But again, like, it's not about rushing these lads back. It's at the end of the day, look, we know where we are. We need to make sure we've got everybody fit for playoffs, and that's the main aim right now. So, yeah, we want them back. We really miss them. But yeah, I think especially them two. I think what we've been able to do is give Carrot and Slice a real chance. And I think how they played on Sunday was great to see. And that's how it goes, right? When someone's out, you get a chance, and you've got to jump in there and do a job. So and them two relishing it right now. So yeah, it's good to see, and yeah, we'll just we'll deal with them two as when they come back and make sure they're ready to go.
So Matty, for next season, how are things going for next season? Obviously, I know you've got this season to concentrate on. Are you playing for next season already? I know we've announced Bruton already this Sunday, just gone. A talk's happening with other players. Obviously, you can't speak to other players who are signed up from different teams, but within your own side, are plans underway?
Yeah, I mean, it never really stops, to be fair. It's just all year round. You've always got to have, we've got guys on 2-year deals, so it's one of them where you're just trying to, these guys that, I know I want back, and the ones that I know I want back, obviously conversations have been happening, yeah. And obviously, we'll get them out when we can get them out, and but we'll obviously have to leave some for the summer, like you always like to leave plenty of stuff for the summer. But yeah, it's one of them where for me it's you've always got to have an eye on it, and you always got to be thinking about sort of what's next and who's available and who isn't. But yeah, it's like we've already got guys, like you said, like we've got Bobby 2-year deal, we've got Brute's now back, and we've got Deck Jones on a 2-year, Geordie 2-year, Sobs on a 2-year. So there's plenty of guys that are already there, and now it's you've just got to always be sort of thinking about it and sort of making sure that you're sort of ready to go on. Some guys that are maybe want to move on from a team or whatever. You've just got to wait and see for most guys that are in other teams and what have you like that. So yeah, it never really stops. The ones that I know want back, we're in a good position where a lot of them lads want to come back here, which is a great thing for the club, and obviously that's good that we have lads that want to come back here, which is nice. So yeah, it's like I say, it's always moving and changing, but yeah, obviously we need to, we've got a lot of games left. We need to make sure we do a job there. But yeah, it's plenty of stuff happening.
Perfect. I know we've already spoken about obviously this weekend coming up, Sheffield away, MK at home. again, 2 tough fixtures, and it's a Yorkshire derby. Last time was in Sheffield, that sort of one of the famous sort of little comebacks there, just in between Christmas and New Year. And then MK at home, last time they come to visit, was on the Remembrance Sunday, where they put 9 past us. There's a couple of games in there this weekend where I'm sure you want to sort of keep the Yorkshire bragging rights and put the wrongs right as well on Sunday.
It's a tough weekend again. Obviously, look, Sheffield, in that rink, we often change a little bit just because of how big the ice is. And where we are with bodies right now, it is tough. And to leave enough juice for Sunday, which obviously is a tough game. So, yeah, look, Sheffield game, they've got 2, I think, really, really good players, and you need to be aware of them and stopping them playing. But yeah, look, we'll be confident going into that game and want to go there and win for sure. Keep this run going. But yeah, it's a tough game, of course. But we'll be confident. And then look, the MK game, I'm excited about it. We've already got 1,100, I think, tickets sold. So it's going to be another, busy one and packed out. And look, they're obviously going for a league title, and they want to win it, of course. So they're going to come in here and they're going to obviously want to put it on us and come in here and win again. And obviously we need to be ready for that. And obviously, look, it's always a big game against them. We've had a lot of good games and big games in the past 2 years against that team. And, they're a really good team. They've got a lot of good players and, we're going to have to be ready. But I like us against that team in here. And I think, like I say, we're playing well at the minute, and so it's going to be tough, and we're going to have to be ready, but we will be.
Perfect. Playoff tickets. I know we're going on sale next Tuesday, aren't we? It's something you've been sort of quite passionate about when the releases come out, and obviously we've spoken as just between us. We've got a lot of new fans within the rink. Sort of, we average probably 200, 300, 400 more sort of per week. What is Coventry and how good of a weekend is Coventry? Obviously we know, but explaining that to the new fans, that party atmosphere and the whole sort of real coming together like showdown. What's all your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, look, it's obviously the ticket, the prices have come out and people obviously, they've got it's maybe a little bit expensive for some people, which I understand. If you look at it and break it down, look, you're going to get 3 really good games over the weekend, 2 semi-final games which are going to be really good, and then obviously the final. So and whether we're there or not, I think it is a really good weekend, and it's really good to see sort of all the different fans. And obviously, look, MK, there's a lot of talk about MK taking on, and to be fair, last year they made that weekend. There was obviously not even there playing, and all their fans were there, and fair play to them. They was really loud, and they sort of, they really had a good time, and they owned Coventry that weekend pretty much. So, yeah, look, for me, it'll be, it's a really good opportunity, I think, for our fans and this club to show that, we want to be there, and for the fans to back that and sort of get their tickets and to go, and sort of gives us that extra little bit of like, we're going to be there, so, and the lads as well, to put it on them and sort of, we're going to go watch, so you better get there sort of thing. And yeah, and I think, it's just good for a club, of our size now that we have a lot of fans there, and it'd be nice to see a lot of our, the Seahawks shirts there, and, people there that are, in that sort of arena and watching us, and hopefully, and even if we're not, it'd be really good to see that, and obviously fill our block out, and maybe some of the Telford block as well. So
we go along every year, don't we,
yeah.
Still, and just watch even if we're not there. But Milton Keynes tickets, who are next to us, they go on sale a couple of days after. So if you are wanting to go and stuff like that, we do highly recommend that you get in early doors and stuff like that. Because the one thing I would say, just from a fan's perspective from a year or two ago, would be, even if you do want to change your mind and don't go, there's always people that their team will then be going, and they'll want to buy the tickets. They won't be fussed about where they're sat.
Get your tickets, and then look, if we don't get there, I'll do my best to get us there for sure, and the lads will, and they want to get there, and that's like the minimum I think for us this year. But I think look, it's tough to get there, but even if you get them and we don't, and you do, someone will get the ticket off you. It's like, everyone wants to get there, and especially if your team gets there, there'll be plenty of fans that want to go. So, yeah, but experience it. It's a really good weekend.
Yeah, super. On and off the ice, I'll say. Like I say, good party atmosphere.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if your team's not there. So we're just going to go into some quick fire questions now, Matty. The first one from Robin Watkins. What do you want the team identity to be?
Yeah, I think, look, obviously some people know, some people maybe don't, but obviously, I alongside doing this, I've got a gym as well, and it's obviously called Graft House, and that's always been sort of a something that I've sort of lived by, and sort of the way I used to play, was something that I prided myself on, with that hard graft, and just to keep going and keep digging and never give up and be an annoying little, bag.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so, and I think, look, it's everyone wants to have an hard-working team and have that, and I think that's obviously, a minimum for me, and the club, from me and Joe and yourself, you can speak for it, but it's something that, it's just sort of seeps through from everybody, that, we all just get on and graft and work hard, and that's just sort of how we are. And the lads, they all know that it's something that it's a big part of what I want and the team to be. It's just an hard grafting team, and a team, again, like I mentioned, hard to beat, and just, dig in and find a way and fight and get it done. So, yeah, probably, hard graft, and the saying hard graft pays off. We've got it in our room downstairs, and it's a big part of sort of what we are. So, yeah, it's hard graft and character.
Yeah, it's one of the last things that the lads will see before they obviously come out to go into warm-ups or into the game as well. Next question from Alec Bolton. If you could sign any NIHL player, who would it be and why?
I can't really speak for anyone else's players. I'll probably say, look, we had obviously Finn last year. I know he's gone on to be in Sheffield, and it's really, it's great to see that he's been, he's with the Steelers. It makes it sort of a lot better that if he's not going to be with us, he's playing in the Elite League, and that's where, he wanted to be. But, someone like him, that's, I know I've known him for a long time. I've known him since he was a young lad, and, he did love playing for Hull, and I think he fits exactly what, this team is and what I want in a player. So, yeah, he's a great kid, and like I say, if he's not going to play sort of for me in this league, then it's nice to see that he's playing for the Steelers majority of the time, and he's someone that obviously I'd always have back, and he's a good lad.
Good to know. Andy Giles has asked, who is the most influential player you've ever played with?
Probably Klutz. I think everyone knows, I've spoke about it before, but yeah, Klutz as a person and a player and everything, he's probably had the most influence on me, and just how he was. Just again, hard working man, and a really good just a nice guy who was off the ice just willing to help, and family man, and but yeah, when it come to work and digging in, he was like, I've never met anyone so intense and just got on with his he might have had his leg chopped off and he'd still go out there. So yeah, someone had a big influence on me in my career and also as a person.
Okay, next question. Alexander Tomaszewski has asked, do you think Bruton in the future will be wearing an A or a C on his jersey at some point in the future with the Seahawks?
Well, he's got the talking bit down because he never shuts up on the bus. He's literally all the way there and all the way home. He's literally non-stop talking, so he's got that bit down. But yeah, for sure, he's someone that obviously has been here and been with me since he was 16. So he's someone that knows sort of what I want, and yeah, he sort of epitomises in terms of as a player. He's someone and a person that does everything right. He's a kid that's got a wise head on his shoulders for such a young kid, and knows what he wants and what he works hard at it. And yeah, for sure, 5 years time he's going to been with me for a long time. So yeah, there's definite potential for him there.
Super. Liam Carr has asked, which player has impressed you the most this season?
Probably Ryan Wells. Not the real Ryan Wells.
That's going to get clipped up, isn't it? And
he's ours, but the Swindon Ryan Wells. I think he's been really good. I think he's been a massive. You can see the change that he's made for that team. We had it last year with Brock, and I think that's probably what a lot of teams saw in that situation and wanted to do that this year. So yeah, I think he's a really good player. He's good going forward. But he's really good defensively as well. Skates really well, and we've played a lot against him recently. And yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, he's certainly got the full package, hasn't he? And then final question from the new Hull podcast, the Hull Faithful, the Slapshot Syndicate have asked, what is it about the current setup and the way things are going that makes this group of players believe so highly in themselves?
Yeah, good question. I think. I think a lot of them lads have been playing for a long time in a lot of different, in all the leagues and won a lot of things. So they're all, they've all been there and done it. And, someone like Dave, for instance, who's played in, the top level that anyone from Britain has in the American League, like Liam Kirk. So, yeah, the players that have been there and done it and won, and players that have been here before and won in the Pirates days. So, they're confident that they all know, and the characters, the people themselves are just, they're good lads. Someone like Bobby, who, he might, if you asked him, he'd be in the NHL. Do you know what I mean? So they're like that as lads. Obviously I'm, very much like that, and the arrogance thing gets banded about. So we might as well just go with it. But yeah, look, it's the good lads in there, the good people. They do anything for each other, and the proper characters and good. Like I say, they don't give up. They want to win. They want to just dig in and get it done. So yeah, it comes from that. Just being, the good players. They've been playing a long time, and good people more than anything.
Perfect. Matty, thank you very much for your time. Greatly appreciate it. And we'll be joined next week by Owen Bruton, who's just signed his 2-year deal at the Hull Reckitt Seahawks. So thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, mate.